All right, everybody. Stocks by the numbers. Welcome back. Just going to do a really quick update here on Nvidia because I'm sure every single person with a channel is making an update video on these earnings. But stock took a little bit of a hit today. Not really. Sold off about 2% here. I know markets were down. Stock closed 125.61, down 2.6 $2.69. 117.67 currently after hours, down 8 points, about 6.33%. And we do kind of potentially have like this wedge taking place here, but we did spike down, as you see, to 115.01, and then we bounced right back up. And now we've kind of been channeling down, but this is why I think that we're probably going to climb up because I don't think anyone's surprised that Nvidia beat earnings again. Beat on the EPS side here, 68 cents. Analysts were expecting 64.5 cents. Revenue came in above 30 billion for the quarter. Estimates were only 28.73 billion. And I still say, I'm just amazed how even with the demand and the upped guidance that Nvidia keeps giving, somehow they still come in 1, 2, 3 billion above these estimates. And no matter what, the estimates are never high enough. But I guess we give credit where credit is due. But good beat there for Nvidia, and they also announced a $50 billion share buyback, which of course is very good news, which is probably why the stock stopped dropping and started to climb back up again. Because of course, this company that just brought in 30 billion is worth over $3 trillion. So obviously, you guys know how I feel about Nvidia. It is basically like one of the main stocks that's keeping our markets up, and this stock can easily drop 50% in value and it would still potentially be overvalued in my opinion. So that's why the initial drop down kind of made sense, which is why I say that when a stock just keeps going up and up and up, even if they beat earnings and have a good quarter, you can see a stock drop. And that's what initially happened. And I saw that the numbers were beat, and then we heard about the share buyback. So that's why I feel like, we're kind of containing, we're holding those floodgates, so to speak, and we're kind of just containing the red. So 6% drop right now, but again, in my opinion, probably going to be fine because AI fuels record data center revenue. The gross margin falls quarter over quarter. Okay, so perhaps that's why the stock initially dropped. But again, the demand is there, the growth is still there, and of course, 50 billion share buyback. I mean, these are all good things. We know this. We know this. So, as much as I personally feel that this has gotten out of control and the stock should drop no matter what, we may just continue to keep climbing. And if you look here on stock charts, we can see that the RSI was basically middle of the road, and it did look like it was kind of having this downward little consolidation channel along with the stock, and now we're potentially ready to pop up to that 70 benchmark, which of course would drive the stock up into the 130s. So we can see we were making lower highs here, but again, technically good report, beat top and bottom line, and 50 billion share buyback. So we may see 130. But the stock dropped to 115. I want to say maybe just to that psychological level because I don't really see a level here in the technicals. We can see the mid-Bollinger Band here is just a penny below 117. And even if we check on the weekly, we can see our mid-Bollinger Band 111.58. So we didn't even drop and test the mid-Bollinger Band on the weekly as well. But also minus this big drop, really, for the most part, these slight dips on Nvidia, we can see, look at this, we had a run up here the tail end of 22, and the stock has essentially been above the top Bollinger Band for 20 months, basically. 20 straight months for the most part, right? Minus a couple of weeks of pulling back. So absolutely just ridiculous. But it's basically viewed now as the safe haven, right? Everyone knows that all of these companies are going to need Nvidia tech, so they're just going to keep putting in orders with Nvidia, and the next thing they come out with, everyone's going to want it, and there's still always going to be demand, there's always going to be growth. So people are just looking at this as, oh, I don't know what to buy, I'm just going to buy Nvidia. oh, the markets might sell off, but Nvidia is probably going to hold up the most, so I'll just buy Nvidia. You know what I mean? I have a feeling there's a lot of that kind of simple thinking surrounding this company, which of course I can understand because again, it's basically been not necessarily the lone winner. We've seen a lot of stocks growing nicely over the last year or two, but it's definitely on a level of its own, and it's definitely a standalone winner that again they split and then they climb straight up really on not much, so then they split again but they climb straight up again. So the company, in my opinion, the stock itself, not the company, the stock has gotten out of control. And even a pullback here, like I said, dropping 50% to 60 a share would be 1.5 trillion market cap still. So this is why I'm just giving a heads up that if this does happen to start really pulling back, you can't be shocked. But on the weekly, the RSI was 63.6, as you see here. So this is why we can have a bounce up. And the top Bollinger Band here above 144. So this is why I'm saying back to the 130s, potentially 140 is very possible, in my opinion, for Nvidia, as much as I may disagree with everything. But 13.5 billion this time last year. They broke above 30 billion. And this is why I was saying also in the previous update video on SMCI, we're not seeing as much revenue, obviously, but it's a similar growth, right? It's the similar chunk up of orders and demand that we're seeing from a lot of these tech companies. And that's why I'm saying, that's why when I look at other companies like SMCI, I feel that there is much more potential for growth that may be viewed as inevitably coming when compared to something like Nvidia. But fiscal year revenue moving forward for Q3, 32.5 billion plus or minus 2%. Analysts are expecting 31.77 billion. So now we're already ahead of those estimates now moving forward for Q3. Maintained its cash dividend of $0.01 per share. How generous of them. To be paid on October 3rd. Shareholders on record of September 12th. So this is our dividend payment date. This is our ex-dividend date. The date you have to own it on record to get paid on dividend day, dividend payment day. The company also said its board authorized 50 billion share buyback without expiration. Shares took a little bit of a hit. Now, no wait, Pure Storage. I want to go back. So technically the dip in the gross margin is viewed as really the only negative that I'm seeing here. CEO said Nvidia achieved record revenue, global data center from full throttle. Hopper demand remains strong. Anticipation for Blackwell is incredible. Also noted Blackwell samples were shipping to partners and customers. Spectrum X Ethernet for AI and NVIDIA AI enterprise software are two new product categories achieving significant scale, demonstrating that NVIDIA is a full stack and data center scale platform. Sequential drop in gross margin was attributed to inventory provisions for low-yielding Blackwell material and a higher mix of new products within the data center business, potentially referring to the H2O chips developed exclusively for China. Board approved share buyback. Okay, we're moving. Strong demand, Hopper GPU. Robust demand, consumer internet, enterprise companies. Cloud service providers contributed 45% of data center revenue. And enterprise and internet companies more than 50%. The rest of the business segments also grew revenue both year over year and sequentially. These are all the green flags that we look for in a company. Yes, we looked at that. Q3 guidance. For the full year, NVIDIA guided gross margin in the mid 70% range. Annual earnings, $2.75 a share, $121.63 billion in revenue. Crazy to think how much they've grown just over the years. Rumored delay of Blackwell accelerator has caused uneasiness among traders. Fund manager said he expects investors to be glued to the management commentary regarding the timeline for the chip, more so than earnings. Look for whether the Blackwell retape out would impact profit and margin in the near term. Delay was attributed to a design flaw. Benefit the stock performance and its supply chain over the next. Yeah, so obviously they're waiting for the call to put everyone at ease, which I believe is taking place. Earnings call scheduled for 5 p.m. It's 5:40. 154% year to date. Just year to date. Again, that's just over the last 8 months, not including that run in 23 that we saw. Very impressive. Very impressive. And they're also keeping costs in check too, because if we look at the rise in, we see the rise in profits with the revenue, right? Look at the net margin percentage here. 7 billion, revenue jumps up to 13 billion, and the net margin 28% up to 45, 51, 55, 57. So, and now I'm probably assuming above 60 here, so very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. Is it worth $3 trillion? In my opinion, no, not even close. But the company continues to do big things. So we do have to give credit where credit's due. But even if we go from the bottom of this drop here, where were we? 115, 115.01. So even if we draw out this triangle here, right? I mean, you can see technically we're out of it already. We really right? We're technically above it. So this is why I think that we're dropping down and now we're going to start climbing back up. Because people love their Nvidia. That's one thing I learned. But 144.38 in the longer term. This is why I'm saying you could probably see the 140s. Here in the shorter term, top Bollinger Band 138.28. So could stay down a couple of points, could remain flat, who knows, for a week or two, and then it can start to climb back up. But obviously, if you're an Nvidia shareholder, this is good news because the company, again, good beat on EPS, good beat on revenue, still seeing demand, coming out with new products, and again, may have potential delays, but they're saying that, you know, the demand, the interest behind what they're bringing to the table is off the charts, as they said. So chances are that's just going to fuel even further revenue growth. So I can appreciate the fact if this doesn't drop too much and kind of hold steady in the high 1 teens and then starts to slowly climb. But good quarter for Nvidia, and congratulations to all shareholders. And I'll end it there. So once again, this is Stocks by the Numbers. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the comments section. I'm usually very quick to reply. Thumbs up algorithm helps me get more eyes on the channel. And of course, subscribe to the channel. That is our handshake agreement. That is how you help me help you. But more importantly, moving forward, like I always say, I understand that markets are rocky, they're volatile, they are very uncertain. So I want to wish all of you success. I hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Thanks for your time. Have a good day.